Hello, welcome to game 4 of this match, Folivora versus BitterWurmcoil. BitterWurmcoil's up 3-0, so Folivora's back is against the wall. BitterWurmcoil's got the 4-3 in this kingdom. We've got Order of Masons, which lets you keep stuff out of the shuffle. We have Village, Draw, Leprechaun, Horn of Plenty. This again looks like a big engine thing. It's somewhat tough to get Horn of Plenty to activate. To get Leprechaun to activate this kind of kingdom because there's no trashing, and in fact there's Witch. So I think you want to build an engine, and I think Witch is going to make it really sad. Flora opens Squire Witch. I think I would open Sycophant Witch just so I can do shuffle stuff early on. Ironworks Silver makes sense somewhat. It's kind of a split opening. You're not sure if you want to hit 5 really hard, which is the silver opening. You're not sure if you just want to add value cards, Ironworks for Smithies and Villages. I think it's fine. I think there are some draws where you end up Ironworksing for a silver in order to hit 5 to buy the Witch. And a second silver is not so bad. And here's Folivora. I would certainly discard the hovel on the Overgrown Estate, and that gives you all your monies. And yeah, I think Folivora can take an Ironworks now. Although I could also be convinced in a second Witch. Scepter's a bit too early, but Scepter's quite nice with Witch as well. The finish giving out those curses non-terminally. Again, if the Squire was a Sycophant instead, we don't even hit 5 here, I guess, but we can make much thinner shuffles with Order of Masons, so that's something to look out for. I assume we're just Ironworksing for Plaza buying Witch here, and then Folivora is just going to buy out a Sycophant, probably. I think Sycophant's the best thing for Order of Masons here. Yep, and we're just going to Ironworks Plazas and buy Witches, I guess, for a while. That's the game that we're in. And we can discard... I think I use all my things to discard 4 coppers and the Overgrown Estate and the hovel. I say the 2 shelters. Necropolis is a shelter, but it's okay to draw in this situation. I might even consider discarding the Sycophant instead of a copper. That one's not as clear to me. Yeah, so the right 6 cards, or the right 4 cards, I would maybe discard from this shuffle. You could do math on the number of cards there. So there's 5, 10, 15 cards. And you've got 5 cards of draw in there. So if you discard 4 cards, you've got 11 cards. So you're going to trigger a shuffle next turn no matter what. And hopefully you see some of the Witches this turn. Yeah, decent turn here for BitterWurmcoil, getting to play both villages, get some coffers, although I assume we're spending those right away to get another Witch. Folivora's got a 2-1 Witch lead, and they're going to be further ahead after this shuffle, I think. So it looks right now like Folivora may get a 6-4 curse split lead, which is not the end of the world, but it certainly is annoying for the opponent. Did Folivora... Yes, Folivora has Necropolis Witch on top of the deck there. I would have some consideration here to taking Squire and buying another Sycophant and a Plaza. Taking buys and buying Sycophant Plaza here so we can do the Order of Masons trick again. I realize that is a lot of Sycophants in the deck. However, the ability to do the liaison stuff seems really strong. They just do Squire Smithy. That makes sense too. We're adding in a village effect and a draw effect. It's going to be tough to draw these decks with 10 curses distributed between them. And BitterWurmcoil does not find either of the Witches here, so it looks like they're going to miss the shuffle. Yeah, they're and she's already down 4-1 in the curse split, which is unfortunate. And here Folivora, I just assume is going to take another Plaza. Yeah, so they're going to give out 2 curses. I mean, this could even go 7-3 in the curse split, given this long shuffle here. We've got to get through 14 cards. I guess we have some Smithies down there. But it seems possible that Folivora could trigger this shuffle, give out 2 more curses. So the 6-4 seems pretty likely. So then the curse pile is empty. The Plaza pile is going to empty very, very quickly. I don't even know that there's time then for Horns of Plenty if you just then buy provinces and a bunch of other stuff. I think this is maybe a spot where you consider taking a Horn of Plenty. I kind of just want another Plaza though. So it's tough to say. I kind of just want another Plaza. Plaza's a much better village, obviously, than Squire. We've got 6. Okay, so Plaza, Squire makes sense to me. Again, Plaza, Sycophant makes sense to me. Third Witch, I think, is too late. Pretty much at worst, we're splitting the curse split as second player. And at best, we're winning at 7-3. Yeah, so 2 curses, 2 shelters again. Seems pretty standard. Why did we play the Necro? You can undo that. We want to discard the Necro to Sycophant, I think. I see no reason not to discard the Necro to Sycophant. This feels like we just gave up a free coin. Maybe they're saying it now. It feels like we gave up a free coin, though. Which, free coins are good. They're better than expensive coins. No, because we get to play the Squire. We could have played the Squire in this line and discarded the Necropolis, so we would hit more. This is, I think, the time for the Horn of Plenty. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 uniques in play. So we'll grab 1 Horn of Plenty, and then next shuffle look to do stuff. This is like somewhat important that we see these witches soon for BitterWurmcoil. If we bottom deck both these witches, the 7-3 curse split is alive, then you're just really sad. Okay, so we're gonna go 5-5 probably now. It looks like, and I don't see Folivora as having as big of a lead as I thought it was. I thought last turn they should have bought the Horn of Plenty. I think that Horn of Plenty is likely enough to turn into a province. And this game looks like it's ending very quickly on Plazas plus either Sycophants or Smithies or Squires. Squire pile can empty. Okay, well the Plaza pile is empty now, and BitterWurmcoil just gets a province here, I assume. Trashing a hovel. Yeah, so that shuffle went quite well. I think it was likely to go quite well, but still always nice for that to happen. The Delve just seems really awkward last turn, but okay, so we're not going to discard with this Plaza. Somewhat sad Smithy. I'm not sure if we play it or not. Okay, well we hit 8. We draw Curse and Sycophant, which are both fine cards to draw. And now we both revert back to having somewhat sad hands, unless Folivora finds something awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think you just use these coins to get another Sycophant. Well, what's the pile pressure look like? I'm really not wild about all these silvers, but maybe it's okay. Yeah, so both players have 1 Squire, so there's only 3 buys for anyone, so emptying 4 Sycophants is not doable. BitterWurmcoil here hitting 8. And I think the rest, yeah, I think eventually they're going to draw a bunch of cards in a row, which are curses. Ironworks could gain Squire here. I think estate is not right. You'd also gain a silver and buy an estate, trashing the hovel. That maybe seems like the best course of action there. And yeah, we just discard 4 curses, basically. Easiest thing to discard and see. Or 2 curses, 2 green cards is fine too, but we expect to start seeing some of these hands here where we're only hitting 2 money. It's like kind of astonishing BitterWurmcoil hit Province 2 out of 3 turns. Although maybe Folivora matches that here. I think having another Squire feels pretty good to me because that gets you to 5 buys, and then you can pile out the Sycophants. And if you have some kind of VP lead, you could lower the Sycophants even, potentially, with the one with the extra Squire. So that would be the card I would look to add here is BitterWurmcoil. Although BitterWurmcoil could add a Sycophant, to be honest, because she's got a 6-point lead. You're just not that likely to see the Squire coming back around fairly soon. Okay, we'll see. They did add a Squire. That's good. I think we discard with these Plazas. We're like never triggering a shuffle here. So if we can discard a copper, we're pretty happy to do it. So again here, don't play the Necropolis, and we hit 8. And we can gain a Squire even. So Sycophant discards 2 curses Necropolis. That gets us to 4 money. Squire is 5, silver is 7. So we can spend 1 coffer and get to Province and have 2 coffers left. And then Ironworks gain ourselves another Squire, I think, is the right card. And it's a tie VP. Ironworks gaining a state. That felt greedy to me. Maybe they want to end the turn with a VP advantage, but it felt a little bit greedy to me to gain that estate. It's a dead card in your deck, and you really don't want to draw it. And our next turn for Folivora is likely to be sad. Although they do have 3 coffers, so they can do some stuff. I just really think adding another Squire is important. Well, saying that, they did draw Village and draw 2 Smithies, so let's see what BitterWurmcoil does here. Are they just going to get a Duchy, Estate, Squire? Estate. Estate makes sense. We're nearing the point where we don't want to draw on. But I think it's Folivora you just discard the Witch here. And buy a Province. Pretty happy to be able to be a Province ahead. Gives you some pile pressure. I guess with Ironworks, if you draw Ironworks and Squire in the same hand, you can Ironworks for Sycophant and then Squire and buy the last 3. It's not super easy to do, but it's within the realm of doable if you draw both those cards and have a VP lead. This is somewhat complicated in game. I think we've as sort of anticipated, we're using Ironworks, we're gaining all these Plazas. We've got good cards in the deck, Plazas and Smithies and Witches, but the existence of all of the Witches in the shuffle just make life difficult. So BitterWurmcoil has the losing pile out now. And I assume this is going to be Ironworks for estate as well. And see what you draw, and then most likely do Squire, gaining silver, buy Province. I think you just got to buy the third to last Province. There's no dancing that needs to be done. You just got to buy it when you can, and then hope your opponent can't buy the second to last one when you can't get it either. The estate does give you a 1-point VP lead. They're doing something else. They're going to gain silver and buy a Province. I really like the estate. Plus, you could draw. If you draw something good, you can... If you draw something good off the estate draw, you can... if you draw something good off the estate draw, you could potentially play cards, save coffers, do something like that. Now we're into the Duchy dancing, and that's just sad for everyone, I think. Yeah, so certainly we want to trigger this Do we? We just play 2 Sycophants and buy a duchy. Save our 2 coffers. That makes the most sense to me. I don't really want to trigger a shuffle with 2 witches, a smithy, and 2 villages. Yeah, so we get to the same number here either way. I think this shuffle is really bad. It's got 5 curses in it, a bunch of coppers. I think it's a very, very bad shuffle. And Folivora is just hitting duchy here, so I assume you stop here and take the duchy. I mean, there's bad and there's worse. There's different degrees of bad. I don't think we're not buying province anyways. We had enough for duchy, so I don't know what we're drawing on to. If you had a goal of hitting province that turn, then you could say draw on to hit province, but I don't think we had that goal. Okay, so we're gonna play the smithy, play the witch. Yeah, this is a quite nice turn here. I say that, but we drew all these stop cards and just buy a duchy at the end. I think there's some logic for saying Folivora can take an estate here. That puts them up by 1. They can still trade duchies. And if they're still trading duchies, then they're fine. Then they win. The Ironworks variable is confusing, I guess, because your opponent can... Yeah, I mean, that puts you on buying the last duchy. You want to be the one to buy the last one. So there is kind of a penultimate duchy rule here with Ironworks in the decks, because whoever has the Ironworks can gain 1 in their hand that turn, can have 1 extra VP. I think we're nearing a point where you have to very seriously consider not playing the Ironworks when you draw it if you're not going to gain an estate. Which is one of the reasons I wanted BitterWurmcoil to gain the estate last time she drew it. But if you cannot gain an estate in the spot that you are in, then you don't want to reveal to your opponent that you had the Ironworks, because it takes significant pile pressure off. Also worth noting is I guess Folivora needs to take the duchy first, because Folivora is second player and they lose the match on a tie. So Folivora wants to be forcing BitterWurmcoil to take the last duchy for a loss, and a loss is the same as a tie here. Well, yeah. So you take a duchy here, you take an estate here, and there's really no thought, I think, of anything other than estate. So BitterWurmcoil can Ironworks for an estate and see what happens. Hope to draw something that generates money or draws on. Yeah, so you buy the duchy here, certainly, and offer the tie, and you win the match on a tie. So you certainly offer that. And Folivora's got to hope to Plaza draw into that Ironworks, or BitterWurmcoil to dud and not be able to afford province, duchy, which is not that difficult, to be honest. There are a lot of combinations of cards in this deck now with 3 provinces, 3 duchies, 5 estates, 5 curses, 7 coppers. A lot of combinations that don't get you to 5, especially with zero coffers. So I think you offer the tie here, and if Folivora happens to collide Ironworks +5, then you lose the game. You're still up 3-1 in the match. I think not taking the duchy here gives Folivora a bit of an advantage. Okay, I took an estate. There's now an estate pile out for Folivora if they find... What do they have to find? They just have to find Squire and 6 money, which is somewhat tough in the decks at this point. So I don't really know what you do here as Folivora. You've got 5 and 2 coffers. This is a remarkable draw from BitterWurmcoil in a deck with over 20 stop cards, I'm pretty sure. 7, 5, 6. Yeah, drawing 5 action cards at the top of this shuffle seems pretty remarkable to me. Yeah, this is just win in hand with the Sycophants, but kind of remarkable. kind of a very good draw at the top of this shuffle. I don't know if there's anything Folivora could do. I mean, if you take the Duchy, BitterWurmcoil piles out of states here with piles out of states. So Duchy estate. I think you lose no matter what here. But that was a good match for BitterWurmcoil. Moves on to the finals of Size Champs. So looking forward to that match. And tough match, obviously, for Folivora. Some bad draws and some micro optimizations that could have been done. And thank you all for listening.